Let's go. It's the Whitey Show. Whitey Show. Whitey Show. Whitey Show. Whitey Show.
Don't worry. I got this.
Look. Oh.
All right, so we are doing Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise. I think that's how you say it. Honestly, I don't really know what the fuck is happening in this story. It starts very bizarre, and it just doesn't really make much sense till the end, where I kind of got what was happening. But this is kind of a reimagining or retelling of the original Final Fantasy. Just put in a lot of Limp Bizkit, and this is that game. No, really, you have this main character who really, really hates chaos. And that chaos isn't just like chaos, like, oh my god, Joker is a chaos. No, like, this is a character named Chaos. And he really just does not like him. And you basically are going on a mission to kill this guy for what he's done. And you kind of just meet people throughout the adventure, these other warriors of light. And you gotta stop the bad guy. That is the most basic premise of the story I can think of that makes sense. And honestly, I'll talk about it later of why it doesn't really matter about the story. Like all my other videos I've been doing, I like to do a pros and cons list of this game, and we're going to always start with the pros because, hell, I want to talk about happy things before we get to sad things. So, one of the best things about this game, the combat system. It's really fast and fun. No matter what class you pick, almost every class contains a lot of really fast and fun elements. Even the mage classes, which is kind of a surprise. But the best classes like the Dragoon class or the Warrior class come with some really cool combat moments and a lot of different combos that you can upgrade and use. On top of that, you can switch between classes to do some excellent, awesome looking combos. So the very fast combat system, very smooth and very fun combat system are all a huge plus, and it's what really made me play this game all the way till the end. Saying that, there's a ton of loot. The customization in this game is actually amazing. So every piece of loot you get, whether it's like a piece of armor for your legs, arms, your shirt, whatever it is, head, you can equip, and it makes your character look different. Now, some things like that people don't care about, but for me, I'm big into appearances on characters. I think that's awesome. I think it adds just like an extra layer of gaining loot and getting to see what it looks like. Same thing with the weapons too. They change based on what they are, which is really cool. And I think that the customization in the actual classes when you upgrade them is really cool. Each class will upgrade either moves, give you more points towards like stronger attacks or more MP to kind of do better magic attacks. So all of that I think is really, really cool. And you can upgrade different classes simply by just switching to the class and battling. It's very simple, but it actually works really well. And then you could upgrade advanced classes when you upgrade multiple different smaller classes, I guess, or first classes, and that will give you these badass, awesome classes later on. So I really thought that was cool and makes you actually try different classes. Ones that I didn't like in the beginning, once I upgraded to like level 10, I was just blasting through enemies. So I thought that was really, really awesome. The co-op works fairly well. Basically, a player joins your game and you just beat the shit out of enemies. You can do some really cool moves together. Since the AI in this game isn't the greatest on your team, it's really nice to have somebody else on your team who knows what they're doing and pulling off really cool magic moves behind you as you're just slashing away through enemies. I didn't have any issues with the co-op. I had a little bit of lag here and there, but hey, that's just online gaming in general. So overall, I think the co-op worked well, and I didn't run into any issues really. And I gotta say, one thing I really liked about this game and what made me keep coming back to it, it is really easy just to jump in and play a mission and then just jump out and play later. I had a lot of fun doing that. I didn't feel like I was stuck in millions of cutscenes. Now, there are cutscenes, and I will get to that in a minute, but saying that, I think that it was really easy to do a mission, play for maybe 20-30 minutes, level up maybe 10 levels, which felt really nice, like I gained something, and then dipping. It's a game that I could see myself coming back to in the future, or if my friend picks it up, I'll be like, hey, you want to play a mission or two? Easy. I did not have any issues jumping in and out of this game.
I was having such a splendid dream of screaming women, crying.
But, like all other games, there are cons to pros, and in this game, there's quite a few cons. So let's talk about the worst offender, probably, the horrendous story. So like I mentioned, kinda, the story in the beginning, honestly, I don't know what the fuck was happening here. I was just kind of like watching the cutscenes and understanding it, but then being like, what the hell? Who? Why? All the reactions in this game to characters' big speeches are hysterical. There's a moment where this character kind of just talks about how dark and evil the bad guy is and how we have to stop him. And then the main character's just like, bullshit. I'm like, what? So if you're looking to laugh at a story, this game provides that.
We should get a warmer reception there.
Saying that, with the story comes the awful voice acting, or I don't even know if it's the voice acting. It might just be the awful dialogue that these voice actors are given, because the voice actors don't sound bad per se. They sound like someone I probably heard in another anime or video game, but listening it on here, oh my god, it's horrendous. So mix either the voice acting or the dialogue. Not sure who's the true offender here. Probably the dialogue. It makes for a pretty awful experience in terms of the dialogue or story or anything to do with that whole thing.
I'm sure it's just the crystals doing their thing. Might take some time to get used to it, but I bet this is what this world is supposed to be like.
And talking about outside of the combat, so in the missions you are mostly 90% doing the combat, but there's some puzzles or making enemies hit a certain thing to shoot a laser at a certain thing to open a door. All of that feels really outdated. Even more that feels outdated is going through these empty cities and talking to these brain-dead AIs that do nothing. You can also just talk to AIs and they kind of give you somewhat of a side story or tell you about their life, but oh my god, did I not give a fuck about any of this. So all of that just felt like a gigantic waste of time and very outdated. Last thing that kind of really annoyed me was the difficult spikes. So I like difficulty spikes if they feel earned. If like you've been traveling, you've been fighting, you've been grinding, you have to fight a boss and it takes a while to beat and you finally beat him, that feels earned. In this game, there's enemies in here that will just like one-shot you sometimes out of nowhere, and it definitely does not feel earned. It doesn't feel fun to fight them. Some bosses just feel fucking tedious the way you have to beat them in certain ways or certain weapons. I did not like that. I just felt like the difficulty spike came out of nowhere half the time, and it wasn't really fun. Now, I will say it didn't happen too much, maybe about 3 or 4 times in my whole 15 hours to 20 hours of playing, but it was there, and it did annoy me. But yeah, saying that, I don't think this game is bad. It's actually really fun to just kind of play casually. I put on like a podcast. I was just slashing up enemies and having a good time. I wouldn't say this was like the worst Final Fantasy, but I don't think this is like even in the top 10, obviously. But saying that, I think it's a pretty good, pretty fun game. I think it feels outdated. I think the graphics even feel a little outdated. But saying that, in terms of gameplay itself, I can't say that I didn't have a lot of fun at times. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. I think it's a good game. I definitely don't think it's a great game, but it is a good game. I can't give it much lower than a 7 out of 10. But what did you guys think? Did you try this game out? Do you have no interest in this game since this is pure action and almost no RPG elements in terms of the gameplay? Or did you ever play the first Final Fantasy? Because I did. And that's outdated. But what did you guys think of this game? Are you going to try it out? Did you try it out? If you did, what did you think? And if not, do you have no interest in just waiting for Final Fantasy 16, which looks great? I'm really excited about that one. Let me know below. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you really love me, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys later for more reviews.
Disappear.